We'll continue with our media availabilities here at Darlington Raceway. We are now joined by Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford. Joey, you revealed a paint scheme honoring Mario Andretti this week. Tell us about the scheme and being here at Darlington for the Throwback Weekend.
Yeah, this whole weekend's really cool. I was really excited to walk into the garage this morning and be able to check out all the paint schemes. We all seen pictures of them, but to see it in person is really cool. And I can't wait to see when we're all side by side on the start of the race, and everyone's got their throwback paint schemes, and we all got cool hats and all the stuff that comes along with it. So what a great idea Chip and everyone had here at Darlington. A lot of fun to see all the all the throwback paint schemes, not only in the Cup Series but in the Xfinity Series as well. Our schemes are both really cool. Our Cup one is honoring Mario Andretti's 24-hour Le Mans race car, and this is pretty neat. Mario Andretti is pretty kind of cool to have a car that's similar looking to his. It's pretty fun to have that on the racetrack. And then obviously the Hertz Rent-A-Racer program from the 60s is pretty cool to have on the Xfinity car as well.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. We'll start here with Viv and then go across.
Viv Bernstein, New York Times. I wanted to look ahead to the chase for a moment. Did you learn something about how you manage the new chase format last year that the teams are going to apply this year that we'll see that's different?
I don't think it's going to change that much. I think everyone's goal, I would assume, is to go out there and get the best finish it possibly can until you get backed into a corner that you have to win, and it's a do or die moment. So we've seen last year that you can go all the way to Homestead without winning a race, but it sure makes life a lot easier when you get that win and you're able to relax a little bit. I think the teams that have a chance to relax and be able to focus in on the race that counts at the end, and not have that pressure throughout the whole chase is a pretty big advantage to have that and be able to focus in on Homestead as early as you can. But I do think, as you go through the chase, you got to take it one race at a time and adjust your strategy depending on how you finished the previous race.
Joey, are you surprised by the number of throwback schemes at this one race? Usually at a race 1 or 2 has a throwback scheme, but there's a bunch of them here.
Yeah, this is it's cool that they help the teams and promote doing this. I think I would assume as big of a hit as this has been, before we even got here, we knew this was going to be a great hit and everyone's going to be excited about it. I would assume they're going to do this next year. I hope they do. But I would think even more cars would do it with more time to think about what they want to do for their scheme, and also what a really cool thing to do, to help. No better racetrack to do it either. Darlington is the history behind it. And how it's kind of really stuck true to its roots. It's pretty neat to have all the throwback schemes as well.
We'll do Lee, Pete, and Steve.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Since leaving Joe Gibbs Racing, are you surprised how not only that they've bounced back, but I mean they seem stronger than ever with a 4-car organization? And do you believe that they're going to be your true competition going to the finish line?
Am I surprised? No. There's a lot of smart people over there, and I know that. I wouldn't just single them out as the only guys we're going to be racing against all the way to Homestead. Hopefully we're racing all the Homestead number 1, but they do have 4 fast race cars right now, and that's it's something to be said there. It's hard to have that many cars that are fast. A lot of times you see organizations with really 3 or 4 teams, and it's hard to have all of them running as well as JGR does right now. So I think that's
environment. Having been in that environment and knowing it so well, are you still even kind of blown away, though, that, I mean, they are as strong as they are top to bottom? I mean, it's like, every week you can kind of expect one of them to be right there in the mix.
I wouldn't say I'm blown away by it. They definitely have gotten a lot more speed over the last year, whether it's 3 teams or 4 teams right now. And I do think they took on one heck of a challenge by adding another team over there. It's the amount of people you have to hire over the off season to build another team and place them right and gain that chemistry between the teams, that's hard to build. And they did that pretty quick, to have all of them. Carl had a little bit of a bumpy start, but now he's, as good as his teammates out there and running up front. So, there's always that learning curve, no matter what, I believe. But to just start a team like that and have all of them running well is not very surprising, but I do understand what that challenge is, and it's pretty impressive.
Pete?
Pete Iacobelli, Associated Press. Joey, you had a couple of top tens here at Darlington, but probably not the results that you wanted so far. What makes this track so tough for you? Probably what makes it tough for just about for a lot of people. And do you feel like you're closing in on where you want to be here at Darlington?
Yeah, that stinking wall out there, that's what makes it tough. It's, eventually most everyone hits it. If you can get through a weekend here without touching it, that's really hard to do. So this is definitely one of those racetracks that, the more laps you can run on it, I feel like the more comfortable you get. We've had fast race cars before. We started outside front row here last year. But we've always had something go wrong at some point where I've made a mistake, or something like that. And Xfinity cars, we've had fast cars here before. But it's one of those racetracks that it's a grueling race. It's 500 miles around this place. It's a long. It feels like Coco 600. I mean, it is a long race. So it's it takes its toll on the car. It takes its toll on the driver and the team. So a lot of times, just nutrition can get you through this thing and get you a decent finish. But at the same time, you can't relax too much out there, and just click off laps because then you're not fast. This is a place you have to charge and you have to run it hard. But obviously, you got to weigh out that risk versus reward throughout the whole race.
Steve Richards with PRN. Obviously, this is going to be crazy this weekend, but I want to ask you about Richmond, about the guys that are desperate to win there or to finish top five. Can you sense that desperation amongst those guys out on the racetrack, and what do you think it's going to be like come Richmond?
I think a lot of it just depends on how those guys get through this weekend and how it's going to be in Richmond. There's a pretty far separation between cars right now in the top, 13, 14, 15, 16. I mean, they're all kind of fairly spread out right now. So the ones that are in probably feel okay because you have a lot of points to fall back on. But if one of those guys outside there wins, then it's going to be a whole different ball game. So you'll have some cars, and depending on how we get out of here, guys have different agendas. Some guys are just going to be saying, hey, let's just finish 20th. There'll be some people saying we got to finish in the top five. There'll be some guys saying we have to win, and it's just different mentalities for each driver when you get to Richmond, and really this race as well, and probably the previous 3 or 4 races leading up to it, and what they have to do to get into the chase, because that's the goal at this point. If you're sitting there on the bubble and you just got to finish in the top 20 to do it, as much as you say you don't go for the win, you want to go for the win no matter what, but it's not worth finishing 40th because you got to look at the end picture of the championship. That's your only shot to win the championship, so you don't want to screw that up yet. So I think everyone just has a different agenda when they get out there.
Any additional questions for Joey? All right, we'll go to Bruce and then finish up with Bob.
Bruce Martin, Speed Sport Magazine. Joey, a lot of times you hear drivers complain about stupid moves on the racetrack. What do you see as the difference between a brave move and a stupid move? And as a follow-up, what do you consider your bravest move?
A brave move is when it works. A stupid move is when it didn't work. I don't know, what's a brave move? I don't know. For me, I don't know if I can pinpoint one of them. Most of them always happen on restarts and someone going 3 wide or 4 wide or doing something crazy to try to gain some positions. When that takes out the whole field, then everyone looks at you like, well, that was stupid. But if it works, then you're like, oh, wow, that was awesome. What a brave move, And it's like, if it went the other way, it would be a completely different reaction, obviously. So, obviously you calculate as much as you can. You don't have much time, but you calculate these moves and decisions you make inside the race car as quick as you can in determining at what point of the race it is, and what you're trying to accomplish by doing it. I can't think one in my mind to pinpoint a moment for me when was a great moment or a bad moment, but it's I guess it all just depends on everyone's opinion.
Bob.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. You would think that this race, everybody would be thinking about momentum and getting in the chase or things to work on for the chase, but the rules package probably won't be back until 2016 or something to that effect. So how much do you enter this race and use it for this year, and how much do you use it for next year?
It's still a momentum builder. I feel like the 22 team right now has a lot of momentum. If you look at the wins we've had in the last 3 weeks, we're building that confidence up in our team. Even though this is not a package that we're going to race in the chase, but really, I mean, even though Bristol's a 2015 package and it's what we're going to race in chase, but it's nothing like anywhere else we're going to go. So you can say the same thing about that racetrack as well. So, we want to go out there and win. It's a Southern 500, so that's pretty cool to have on the resume. You really want to have that. And I think, if you don't run well here, you're going to try to look past it and say, blah, blah, blah. It's not part of it. It's not the same package we're going to race in the chase and all that. And it isn't. It's a lot of stuff that you do here isn't going to work when we go to Chicago. But, at the same time, we're going to put a lot of effort into this race. It's not like one of those races we're going to cruise into the chase right now. We want to go out there and win this thing.
And one final question in the middle.
Joey, what things do you think Danica Patrick's doing well on the track, and what do you think it'll take for her to win her first race?
I'm probably a little bit too far removed to understand what it's going to take for her to win the race. I'm not in the organization. I'm not part of the day-to-day conversations. So as a teammate, maybe I can answer that, but not. So it's kind of hard for me to answer that question. Where their team's at or where their car's at or where the driver's at, I don't know. I'm not part of that, to be honest with you. So I do see improvements over the last few years for sure that, she's gotten faster and more competitive on the racetrack, and I think everyone's noticed that.
All right, Joey, thanks for joining us, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.